This is VRCDJ Live.
Well, welcome everybody to a very awesome episode of VRCDJ Live, as we are live and we are actually here on remote at Virtual Market. Wouldn't you believe it? And I'm trying to figure out where the camera is because I kind of resituated myself a little bit. But good to have you here. My name is Rob Roman, and I'm your host for VRCDJ Live. And what a fun time to be on remote. For those people that don't know, we have a very awesome exposition here in VRChat called Virtual Market, where every so often we have a lot of folks coming in from Japan on the Western culture side, kind of explaining a lot of what's going on over there as far as our world and our worlds to their world, 3D modeling, 3D avatars, VTuber stuff, as well as introducing the Western market to a lot of Japanese influenced stuff such as foods and services, and it's a real neat time to be here in VRChat for all that sort of stuff. But it's even more fun when I get to come in and not only get to take a look at all of the cool booths and all of the cool people that we have going on here, but it's just a matter of coming in and being able to explain it and talk to those types of people that make VRChat run. And throughout this entire experience, we are going to be here live on remote on Fridays. This obviously today because it'll be Friday and next Friday. And unlike regular VRCDJ Live, I'm not saying that we're not live because I always say that we're live. We are actually going to be here talking with some people that are involved with Vket, involved with our community, and we're also in a public instance. So feel free to stop by, say hi, and see what we got cooking and we got going on. But in par usual, we're actually here with our first guest, and we were just kind of BSing a little bit here on the VRCDJ Live. But very, very special guest here today. What was I calling what? That you're a special guest? Oh, I mean, most of the time, yeah. I mean, we're just kind of, open up the, it's funny too, because we have a Dalek sitting right in front of us, and I'm just like very tempted to even ask, be like, so what's your relationship with the doctor? But we're here at the Vket booth here for VRCDJ Live. We're joined on remote here with Metaverse Degen and Lion Turtle and Raptor. Guys, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the remote desk. When you guys, we actually have to make sure we hear you guys too.
This in his pocket.
Yeah.
Did I miss something? Did he?
It's a remote booth.
I was just curious. It's a remote booth. Okay.
Yeah, people couldn't hear you because I didn't. You guys were still mute at the time, but we fixed that. So, there it is. Now you guys can say hi. There you go. So I'm actually.
Hello, not live Twitch audience.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I'm confused here. I'm lost. Anybody want to fill me in?
Well, I don't know if you know this, Raptor, but we're on a live Twitch show with someone named Rob Roman.
Oh, the guy I missed, right?
The guy who entered the show a second ago.
The one guy that I just
I know.
legit was like, well, I was looking in that direction, so I don't know if you heard me. I was looking in that direction, but.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for having us, Rob. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank
you. It's again, we need to find the time to be able to talk to the people that do a lot of the background stuff, especially for Vket and the stuff that you got going and cooking here. Why don't you guys go ahead and explain yourselves of what you do on YouTube? We've been seeing a lot of content from you on YouTube and what you do for the community.
Oh, well, we are a VRChat podcast now, not just on YouTube now, but Spotify as well and YouTube Music. But we interview the various people of VRChat, similar to you as well, but not just the DJ scene here, but all over VRChat. We've been at how long now, Raptor? 3 years? Almost 3 years this March? Dear Lord, I feel old.
We go. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, you had to throw the old trick. Yeah, here he goes. Yeah, he's going to start this crap. He's going to start this crap.
Well, I didn't say
Yeah, we've been on for 3 years. We've been on for three.
I mean, you're talking to a guy who's been in here since 2018, so I have a lot of people. The kind of thing that we talk a lot about on VRCDJ Live is the boom of 2022 and how all the DJs kind of showed up in 2022. So when we talk about that boom, we also talk about how those new kids do not even care about the nostalgia of VRChat because they're constantly in the now and constantly in all of the fun things. So when I say that I'm in 2018, that they're just screaming at me, just being like, "Oh, Did you not have cool worlds? Did you not have cool avatars? Did you not have personal mirrors that you could spawn everywhere? That must have sucked. That must have been terrible.
That was sucked. Yeah, because I was there. Yeah, that sucked. Yeah, and everybody goes, "Oh wow, you guys have it so rough." And you look at it, and then they look at you. Must be a boomer. Yeah, you get that crap a lot. You must be a boomer.
Right.
That's only about 4 or 5 years ago. People, come on. Yeah.
I have a fun question for both of you. How does it feel to be in long enough to know that the VRChat's collective memory forgets what you remember?
Are you talking about a cache?
Anybody got a Band-Aid? Anybody got a Band-Aid? My head hurts.
Yeah,
I got a boo-boo.
I don't know. At the same time, I like all the cool stuff we got going on. You know, all the stuff back in the day was fun too. But like, oh man, like you would never think that we would be sitting here doing this today. Obviously, I mean, Vket's also just been growing all over the place.
No. Yeah, it's nuts. What I think what's really funny, Rob, is when you go back to one of the old worlds, right, that has not been touched in a long time, and you go up to the mirror and click on it, and you're going, wow, Minecraft! Oh my God, I look like Minecraft because the mirror hasn't been updated in it.
I love going to like older worlds and see how broken it is, and like the real funny part about my lore in this game is the very first avatar that I wore was from a public avatar world that kind of got debunked a little bit. There's a long story behind it. I wish we had more time for it, but we really don't. So because it's still an SDK2 model, and because the pedestal isn't available, but the avatar is still uploaded, I continuously go in every 3 or 4 months to see how the degeneration of that model, like it just starts to deteriorate, and then particles are flying and like polygons.
I can see you, Rob, going, wow, there's my arm. Can I pick that up and glue it back on? Oh, crap. It won't go anywhere. Okay, we'll just leave it there.
And then everyone's just like, why are you in that broken model? And I'm like, because I want to have fun, damn it. Like,
yeah. Rob's just falling apart in pieces all over the place. Next week at this time, his ear will be in his cup.
There's a good way to tune in, that's for sure. They used to be like, how broken is Rob's avatar today? Oh, we're going to have to find out.
Yeah.
So along with all of the, you were saying we were just talking about Metaverse Degen. You guys have been doing it for 3 years.
Yeah, we started off as like a broadcast thing a long time ago. A friend of ours wanted to start the podcast, and he was like, "Lion, I want to do a VRChat podcast thing." And I don't know what the hell I was doing to help him out, but he wanted me to help him, and so we started off that way. After about a year, he stopped, and he had a job and stuff to do, so he had more important things other than to hang out here with a plastic potato on his head. So we eventually had Raptor join, and then from there we started doing interviews, which because I thought it'd be fun, and then just has us stopped, grabbed us by the horns, and dragged us along for the path. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it and stuff like this. It was the funniest part is when Lion and the other gentleman were working with it and everything else like this. They were trying. Everybody tries to find their knack in here. I don't care who you are or anything like this. And me and Lion, when I met Lion through him, a friend, same friend, and everything else like this, and then we've been getting along great since then, and everything. I think he's like a brother to me in a way, and everything else like this. And we were just screwing around, me and Lion, trying to find the knack, and everything else like this. What can we do that's different from everybody else? Blah blah blah. And we were screwing around, and all we did was go around asking people questions, same questions, how world hopping. Going from world to world, asking them the same question and asking their point of view in it. And everything else like this. And we had some doozies. Oh my gosh, did we have some of the stuff wow. And everything else like this. But, it was how things, and I turned around and looked at Lion, I think we found it, Lion. I go, Lion, we got this. I know what it is. And it's right in front of our face. And we just fed off of that. And he goes, well, how about we do this? And I go, well, why not we do this? And I go, and then we still do the world hopping thing. So we just crammed everything together, and here we are. And it's been great. I enjoy the people that are in here. There's so many people. They got different things to say. I've got a lot of people. Lion gets on my case once in a while. He goes, hey, dude, you need to talk more in there. I go, yeah, but I go in blind. Mm-hmm. I do not know these people at all. So it's like having a conversation for the first time. Lion's throwing the questions. About the time I come up with you don't want to ask the same question twice or 3 times when you're interviewing the person.
Right.
We we shoot from the hip. We feed off of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we get our information. We feed off of what we start with our basic questions and everything else, and then we just go off of that. And if there's something funny into it, I pick on it if I can without pushing it to beyond its limits. Sometimes I do.
I mean, honestly, that's a good way of doing radio anyway, because of the fact that like you want to have a nice conversation. Obviously you're in for a specific topic. And from my radio experience, you know, occasionally when you do have a guest come in, there is a specific purpose. They're trying to promote something, or they gain popularity very quickly about something, and they just want to talk about it. But then you never really know when they're going to say something like a trigger phrase or something, and your brain is on like hyperdrive, just being like, I really want to talk about this, and
Right
man,
here.
this is super important. Yeah.
Well, right here. Right here, he
Don't say
gets
anything.
tripped up
Don't
every
say
time.
anything.
He
Don't
gets
say
about
anything.
six. He says six things come out of his mouth. Wants to come out of his mouth at once, and all of a sudden you'll stop and go, "Crap! I had it. Now I can't," because he had too many of them going at the same time. I just stand back and look at him, going, "God damn, my brain used to work like that." But these days, I just stick with one question at a time.
Yeah, and I know we were kind of talking a little bit about things back in the day, you know, again, 2018, 2019. We recently had a guest on VRCDJLIVE who was saying all those trigger words of all of the things I remembered from back in the day, learning about VRChat through Twitch and YouTube. And I'm just sitting there internally screaming because I'm just like, oh my gosh. Besides the fact that we were supposed to be talking about DJ stuff, I really want to talk about this with you guys. So all of that is super interesting too. And especially with Metaverse Degen is like, one of the things I think a lot of people are having, I think YouTube in general has been having a hard time with, is just like everything is so clickbait. Everything is so like I did this and this is my explanation why. And then on top of it too, like you got some people, well, they'll go in there and they'll say, and this is how they say it, something is happening because of this reason. Let me explain. And I'm just sitting there like, stop doing that. Like, it's so, like, I understand you're feeding off of the template, but.
Wait a minute, Rob, it sounds, go ahead, Line. We do this all the time. We walk over each
YouTube
other.
thing out there where there's something wrong with VRChat, and here's what it is. That has all over the place, too.
God, it sounds like I'm in high school.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't that sound like a history teacher?
Well, it's
that
also
tells you, you know, this is the Yeah, and you go look at the history teacher going, how can I fix it? I'm just learning it.
Right.
You know, it's just the way it goes. How can I fix something that's in the past and you got the future and you just deal with it and you just keep moving forward? And then you just stand there and when your history teacher goes, what can we learn from this?
Here's the fun part about that too, is like you spend 12 years of your life learning from the history book on all of the history, so they're anticipating you to learn and remember all of the history of the whole history of the world that you have to retain and say, what have you learned from all of this history?
Years.
Well, there was a lot of history. That's all I learned. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of history. Yeah.
So along with Metaverse Degen and again doing it for 3 years and having all of these interviews and stuff like that, how did you guys come across doing stuff in Vket recently?
We actually initially this year we actually started the first time at conventions at PJKT this year, and right after that, Novid and the PGT gang suggested I apply for Vket, and I was one of the last minute applications. I'm going to be honest, I just kept on forgetting about things and this thing piled on top of the other, and I finally applied to it, and it actually looks like a lot of fun. I world topped every other year prior, to be quite honest. One of my favorite things to do. So I've been to every other Vket World here last year and the year before. Those are the 2 years I've been seeing. So it's a lot of fun.
So you're trying to draw inspiration from some of the booths that, like, you guys have a booth this year?
Yeah, we have a booth here over at Gachatopia Stylish Capsule. Not that you should go, not that we're doing a shameless self-plug here, but you should go check it out.
So what do you get? Well, I mean, give us a little bit of a taste. What's going on with your booth? What are you guys showcasing there?
God, you had to ask.
Of course.
You had to ask.
I mean, we're sitting at, this isn't my booth, but I got my own little thing I got to explain, so.
I got you.
Our booth is a similar setup to what you have here, except we don't have the radio table. We're we took our booth from PJKT, which basically is like a couch, a TV. It's got a desk, and then it's got pictures of us and all the stuff all over the place. It kind of has like a living room setup, kind of relaxed kind of living room setup. And there's a couple fun Easter eggs in there, I guess is the way to put it.
Cool.
That's what you call those?
Yeah, the mirror sticker's funny.
The funny little Easter eggs. Yeah.
You know how funny it is
mirror,
to see people run up to the mirror sticker, try and get the mirror on when it doesn't exist. It's funny every time.
Yeah.
There's ruin the fun for everyone, I guess. Actually, funny story that I was just watching VRChat. They were streaming live on Twitch. I think that they still are, so if you guys want to go check them out. Tupper has a very funny a print. You know how you could take pictures and then print them. It was very awesome print. Okay, I will. Thanks, Ev. Very fun print that shows the turn the tablet around and do you want to do a tip? You know, do you want to offer a tip? So I guess I have my sorry, I have my safety settings still on. There we go. Now you're in full. You were just glowing purple for like a bajillion days.
Oh, great.
No, that's only my
no
fault.
Problem.
That's only my fault because last night I went into a DJ instance and whenever I perform, I have all of my settings on high, so that way I can DJ without crashing. So
I got you.
Perfect. See, that's why.
Okay.
See, that's why. Like my producer's down there doing his job and making sure that everything looks good on the stream, and it's live. You know, it's live. It's live. That's it.
We don't get that lucky. Usually you and I go. It's usually the situation with line is line or turn around, and we've had when you interview anybody or you talk to anybody in here, doing a broadcast and everything else. It's the internet. We do have issues. How about record somebody and have to turn around and found out that our recording situation, we didn't have the recorder on. We had the recorder on, but it didn't have sound. And so you went through the whole thing with no sound. All you got is somebody sitting there, mouths moving, but what? Huh? Yeah, we had to do it.
Oh, the mic. Yeah, we had an entire episode with no mic on.
Oh, man.
No mic on. The conversation just didn't exist.
So then how did it go? Did you just kind of have them come back to do some more?
Second run. Yeah,
okay.
They were very happy to come back a second time. Luckily enough, those things happen. Like, for example, you just showing Raptor's avatar now. We also an entire episode with a friend of ours, Anais. We went his entire first episode not showing his avatar. I thought he was a robot the whole time.
Yeah, he was just standing there as a robot. I had it on.
I'm in VRChat as a robot. What do you mean? There's something wrong with my avatar?
Yeah, what's wrong with it? You don't like the color or what?
Yeah.
He's got his hands. And what else do you want? Yeah.
Well, that's all. Yeah, that's also super entertaining and interesting about VRChat right now. Anyway, just because of the fact that even like cinematography, is that what it's called? Cinematography. Yeah, I'm missing that. Cinematography in VRChat is just absolutely mind-blowing. And the fact that everybody's obviously 8K textures, 4K textures, they got the blur on the camera and stuff like that. And now they're hosting, film expos and film showings in here, and people are really like doubling down on what we can do for limitations as far as video and shooting movies and stuff in here. So I kind of want your opinion on that, especially because now that you guys have 3 years under your belt of doing YouTube stuff and really enhancing the forward motion of doing podcasts in VR.
I'll start with thank you, VRChat, for upgrading the camera a couple years ago, because I remember when I started in 2020, the camera was kind of confusing to understand.
Oh, God.
I just saw buttons like, what's this button do? Oh, wait, it's upside down now. How do I fix this? I have no idea where to get. But from what I've seen and talked with people over the years, the VRChat cinematography seemed to have gotten a lot better, especially with groups like Metacosmos, Studio Penrose, which Studio Penrose has a booth here too over in Cirque du Personnage, which is really cool. If you haven't seen their work, you should definitely check it out. It is really amazing stuff, and it's kind of mind blowing too that just some of the degree of level of detail they put into their work. Like when we talked with Studio Penrose and Metacosm both, we heard about one of their projects and to where they start with storyboarding immediately into the world planning, how people go, the choreography, down to how well the camera cinematography, a word I forgot a second ago too. It's kind of impressive, to be honest. I'm impressed. I didn't even know that's possible here in VRChat, but here we are in this golden age of awesome.
It's also interesting to hear a little bit more about like where the future is gonna lie with that, because obviously right now there's just been I've been absolutely cuckoo crazy about VRChat TikTokers, and the fact that even though they can produce something as simple as 10 seconds or even like 30 seconds of video, there's all sorts of shots and sorts of angles and lenses and blur effects and all these beautiful things, and it just kind of gets me thinking a lot about between that and integrating it with the DJ scene, or even making a music video out of it, or where else we can go with this. And obviously we could continue pushing the limit as far as, video stuff and editing and all that sort of thing. But but it always begs the question, when and if someone is going to run professional with it. Are they actually going to be able to apply to like a video studio and be like, this is what I've done in virtual reality compared to I could shoot video and I'm also doing it in virtual space too, maybe double down the pay or something,
I think we're a lot closer than you think, because we even have the interest of Rain Dance and Venice Film Festival here, which there are some pretty big names that go through and see that stuff. For example, they show all the VRChat films and VR kind of projects over in the real world, over in their regular locations, to the people who go to the proper IRL festivals as well. So I think it's a lot closer than you think it is. All it takes is a few others, probably I wouldn't even take that much longer than I think about it. Someone's project comes out, goes viral, and then there we go. I mean, whichever studio's on behind that will go with it.
I think it also is really nice that Virtual Market also kind of dips into the storytelling. Obviously, this world that we're in is based off of like medieval lore and dragons and having dragons fly around. And if you haven't actually been to this world yet, there is a fantastic boss fight at the end that you have to kind of, take care of business and learn how to do it. But just even that, and bringing over Japanese influence to the Western culture and have us not only be a part of it, but also learn a lot from it, especially, again, now that we're in an age where you can come in and, make a brand for yourself and make a business and learn a trade and kind of kickstart all that sort of stuff. But kind of asking about with Raptor, like what else as far as film and podcasting do you take out of Metaverse Degen? Do you like to do a specific thing? Do you want to work on more specific things with it?
Well, pretty much what if me and Lion, if you look at it, Lion and I are like Abbott and Costello. He's the serious one and I'm the screwball, and that's not. I'm unhinged, unfiltered. I just say what's on my mind. Sometimes one of these days it's gonna get me in trouble. But the stuff that he does, I have no clue. I listen to the people I might be old, and everything else like this, and I catch a lot of crap for being, oh my God, you're an old man. What are you doing in here? But it's the stuff that people are talking about, and you listen to it, and everything else like this, you get an idea or a feed of what they're doing, just like what you're doing, a DJ. I've had people tell me I should have been a DJ because of my deep voice, and you know how much trouble I wouldn't get aired. I'd be shut off because I'm unhinged. But you learn from all different specs of what people are doing in here, from DJs, role playing. You stand back and listen to it. It'd be like somebody, when you first walk into, and that's the way I do it when I tell Len, it's like me walking into an instance for the very first time, and all of a sudden you catch something that catches your interest, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter to me, you walk in and you're going, wow, I'm curious. And you get closer to listen more about their conversation without trying to be too rude or anything like this, and just trying to listen to the new stuff that's coming out. Because you got to realize, my era, you didn't have this. My playtime was going outside playing with Hot Wheels. When computers started coming in, it caught my interest back then, and everything else like this, but everything was in DOS form and everything else like this. It blows your mind, no matter what tech system comes out, whatever it is, they're getting there. and you see some of the stuff that you see space movies and Star Wars and some of that stuff, and you go, you wonder if that can actually happen. Hey, you never know.
Right.
I might not see it. My grandkids might, but it's one of those things that, wow, it's here. It's just how we use it and use it properly and enjoy it, have fun with it, and do so much with it that it can educate you or it can hurt you. And, but education in here is big if you're open-minded to listen what other people are having to do. They're a DJ or anything. I get a kick at them. I just get a feel for it. So it's fun.
Well,
I get a real fun.
In terms of all the technicalities for podcasting, I think it's really easy, especially with VRChat, making the camera as simple to understand as it is. You can just pop up a camera, speak out of your mic, and you're pretty much good to go. Then you got Vket with all the different people here making tools, selling other tools to make your experience easier, which put things on your avatar as a world. It's honestly, it's almost as simple as make an account, turn on the camera, and go. At least that's that's pretty much what we do. We don't even get VRC lens or anything. We just use the VRChat camera straight.
Yeah.
Pop in a world, usually a different world every time, and go. It's honest. OBS is free. You can just get started tomorrow, honestly, with most of the stuff, even with filmmaking too. If you want to get VRC lens, it's a really good tool that's commonly used amongst everybody, but you can get started with a VRChat camera and go.
I know there's a lot of very cool things in VR that really blow my mind, and the first thing that brought my attention to what Raptor was saying was, I remember back in like middle school, I think it was in middle school, where we had the family computer sitting on the dining room table, and the really loud printer, and then you had the rippables on the side. So I just remember that and how nostalgic it was. And even though it was like beginning age stuff of learning printers and stuff, like even the printer I own now is a nightmare because of the fact that because it's so technologically enhanced and advanced that I can use it on my cell phone. I could do it wirelessly. There's no wires. There's also a catch to it, which is I have to have a subscription to use the printer that I purchased. Otherwise, if I don't feed into the subscription, then electronically they will turn off my printer, so I can't use it. And I'm like, that is such a bad catch-22. But at the same time, technology. But you're right. You're absolutely right. And the funny thing about all of this too is like just the other day I was applying for another radio job because that's my career. I've been working in radio for 10 years, and I worked with companies like iHeartRadio and ESPN. And for me to get back into radio now, I was like putting together a little cover letter and being like, this is what I've done and this is what I currently do. And after I wrote down everything that I currently do in VRChat, the DJing, and I have this show and being able to do a podcast, at the end of that, I wrote into my cover letter, I said, it seems a little intimidating for people that aren't in it, but I promise you that it has something to do with the content that I produce, and it has relevance or relevance. Yeah, I would say relevance to being in radio. And it's so it's such a weird, bizarre concept to me, and I think a lot of people are like that too. We're like, oh, this is a weird concept, but also at the same time, like, people need to realize that this is kind of the future, and this is what we're doing, and this is virtual market couldn't have gotten this large without the people in its community. So even though that bubble may seem kind of tiny, there's just a ton of people in the village. There's a ton of people a part of it, and it's so fascinating to be able to see the people that come on here, do the podcast stuff, bring light to all of the great things that VRChat has to offer, while also continuously pushing the limits on cinematography and making sure that the camera systems work really well. Even a dude in VRChat, which we'll probably try to get him on VRCDJLIVE. We'll try to. He is kind of known as the photographer of the VR DJ community. Like, he'll run around with his camera and the VRC lens and have those really ultra wide HD 8K textured photos. And wouldn't you know it, people use his photos because he has an eye. He has an eye for what he needs to shoot, but he's also super humble about it. And the tough conversations I've had with the guy was like, why aren't you making this your career? Why aren't you making this like a thing that you can do? Like, you're taking these wonderful photos. And honestly, too, he also helps out with Sanctum and Muzz and doing pictures for Muzz. I'm like, you're only like a phone call away. You're like an email away from Muzz saying, I've taken these photos for you. Why not have me on your team? You know, like that's what you do is you take the photos, and they're amazing. But, you know, obviously people can do what they want to do, and they could pursue it if they choose to. But the same thing goes with like podcasting and stuff. I would assume there's a large community of people that want to try it, test it out, experiment what it's like to be a part of a podcast, run a podcast, or even do behind the scenes for a podcast, or even want to be in radio. Honestly, there hasn't been enough people to come up to me and ask me what it takes to be in radio yet, because you know, people are so focused in on the meme and DJing and whatever. But you know, again, that's just another avenue that we have as a community where we can say, hey, you know, we've had all this experience before. This is what you can learn and what you can do. As well as in virtual market too. You know, you could be a part of the ambassador program. You could be a part of a collaborative streamer program like I am, and showcase Vket and all the things that it has going on. Do you find a lot of people that come up to you and talk to you about podcast stuff as well, or how does that turn out?
Yeah, I've had a few people ask, and honestly, I think some people are kind of surprised with how easy it is. Like we do it in a very brain dead way because I'm a very simple man. Like it's place camera, turn camera on. In the beginning, if I was to pull out some of my older videos, I didn't even do the multi-pin system. It was just right there, upper corner, pointing at everyone. There's a camera. Then we start talking. Like it was super rudimentary, and it's quite easy. I think with VRChat though, I think why some people may not want to step forward into a more professional stance. I think half the community likes enjoying this for fun, even though they're doing it of a professional skill level, whether it's pictures or building 3D environments or characters such as the one Raptor's in. I think some people enjoy that as a hobby, but then would have a weird view of it when it pulls it into a more of a professional sense, like it won't be fun anymore. Or they may just want it to remain a hobby. I think it's another thing we got to get through as well.
What is your opinions on that? Because I know that's still a growing hot topic especially for the VRChat DJs, that they want to go and do festivals and they want to make a profit off it. They, you know, and even some of the groups have also talked a lot about it too. How we have a lot of VRChat groups and clubs that have a lot of people on their staff, and they're just kind of doing it as a passion. But you can't help but feel like there could be some sort of financial gain out of it.
Well, I'm going to start with, I don't do this for money. I do this because it's fun. Like I'm one of those for hobby people, but I've also come into a few roadblocks where eventually you do need money to keep it going. Like, for example, if someone's headset breaks down, that stuff ain't cheap. If you're one of those people who like runs a website, in order to pay for the domain name to get it going, you need to pay for that. Then there's server space if you host your own episodes. If whenever it gets to that point, there comes to a point where your for fun kind of hits a roadblock, and you kind of have to think about money. But for the meantime, if you want to do it for fun, do it for fun. If you want to do it for money, do it for money.
Yeah,
that's, I guess, up to each person individually.
And see, that's kind of one of the things I just don't quite understand quite yet, as far as that side of the trade. You know, I feel like you guys may also do a little bit of research on some other podcasts, or even kind of get ideas of how you can better yourselves, or what works out, what doesn't work out. But in reality of it, you know, being in this game for such a long time, you do start to see the evolution of how things started compared to where they're headed, even compared to like some of the more popular streamer types or the more popular YouTuber types that are doing it. And it's kind of a weird toss-up question of just like, A, can I make it just as far as they do? And B, is that something I really want, you know, compared to, I don't know, working a dead-end job, or going to a job and just being like, I hate being here and I shouldn't be here, but I'm getting paid for it, or self-sustaining, you know? I find it funny how I'm on here and I'm making content, and I don't feel like I'm no better than a housewife that comes in and does the dishes and cleans the floors, but the housewife that wants to be a housewife as opposed to
charges a lot.
You know, I haven't been asked to clean a house in a maid outfit yet, but I'm also the type of guy that would like, I could probably make a content out of that.
You know, it's a very common thing for people like someone we know who would put on a donation thing. And if you reach the full amount, I'll be in a maid outfit. It's common.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I'm stooping down that low, but I don't know if I really want to be that low. But because then I'd also be known as the DJ who DJs in a maid outfit or something, and I'm just like, oh,
yeah. That's great, and it doesn't go away.
Yeah, internet's forever. Once you're on the internet, man, ooh, you never really know. And actually, funnier story about that too. Back in college, I worked with I was brothers with a girl. It was a co-ed fraternity, and we made a song together called the Screamin' Lehman Shimmy, and because it was stupid and ridiculous, I put it on SoundCloud and left it up there. I don't think it's on there, guys. Don't look it up.
Look it up.
But she
open a tab.
She got a big girl job, and she emailed me and she goes, Rob, this company that I got employed to found the song, and my name is on it. Can you just like either take down my name or put up a different name in its place? They're like, that's the only thing I need to be changed. And I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. But at the same time, college was such a long time ago. But yeah, it's funny how the internet is forever, and even funnier enough. I know we were kind of talking about it on my other stream, how there was a recent video that somebody posted about the iceberg of VRChat. And they were kind of going down all the different layers of, I wouldn't say degeneracy, but just like all of the bad, negative things that you could potentially, find in VRChat. And somewhere in that iceberg, they brought up a name of a streamer in which we just don't name anymore because of the things that they have done in the past. But I found it extremely funny because, number one, they said the guy's name wrong. And I was like, it's been that far out that they even messed up the guy's name. And two, why would they be bringing it up? He's been gone for such a long time. It's just like, why are you putting in that type of content? I understand you're trying to get clicks and whatever, but like, that's old news, dude. Like, we're looking forward. We got only a few days left of the year. We got to start looking towards the new year and stuff. So,
well, to be quite honest with you, I see a VRChat iceberg as well, but it's not the negative one. Like one thing we've heard at a common trend on our show all the time for the people who come on is I meet someone, I learn something, and now I have a job. Or maybe I have this new passion of sorts. Let's use the DJ community, for example. So someone pops into VRChat for the first day. Then they meet someone in Black Hat, maybe a drinking night, and they meet a Rob Roman guy's like, there's some really cool thing you should go see. You get dragged into a world, you're now into flashing lights and lasers, and then some other guy's like, you can get this really free program on your browser, and you could DJ and do what this guy's doing today. And the next thing you know, they're on some road path where they're now DJing, and then later down the road, they realize, well, you've been DJing for a few years, why don't you just produce your own music? But you can start playing your own stuff in your own sets. And that happens a lot. We've heard from many different skill levels, from world building, avatar building, running communities, streaming, creating films. Like, it's common here so much. You started one day in a Black Hat, the next thing you know, you're making films. You never. Weird how that happens here in VRChat all the time. And some people are so willing to teach you whatever. They'll just hand you all the tools, skills, and information and get you going.
Yeah, they'll give it out. Yeah, they'll tell you where to go, how to find what you're looking for, everything else like this, help you out. Well, good example is Z-Rock. Z-Rock is a guy that works with the people that make slimes. Slime track.
He runs their community.
Oh,
right?
cool.
He does stuff with their community.
Nice.
He works for he helps them out and everything else like this. And the man is got to have a lot of patience. Everybody's got their own learning curve, everything else like this. And I've been around him and everything else. I've got slimes, but my headset tied on me. And everything else like this. And he goes on YouTube and shows you how to set it all up, how to work with it. And then he even does a class in here to work with you, to work out the bugs that you're having trouble with. And he has a class, and what's weird is when Slime, the guy that makes slimes and stuff like this, makes a shipment, sends out the shipment for whoever's supposed to be getting their stuff, he knows it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
and they come in droves. The man has 30, 40 people sometimes sitting there, and he's walking them through every bit. You know, he wants you to do the basic line of loading it up, where to put the stuff on, everything else like this. And he walks around with the showing points of 12-point tracking, showing you where everything is. It's on his avatar and everything else like this. But the man turns around afterwards and everything else like this. He's even got a yoga class in here.
Yeah.
Yoga class for people to be in and everything else like this. And it's just that stream of he goes, I like doing it because it's helping somebody out and everything, and it never fails. We'll be BS and somebody come out of nowhere. I'm having problems. He'll stop what he was screwing around, just having fun, watching a movie, whatever. And he'll take him off where he's not bothering anybody else, work out the bug, come back. And that's dedication. You know, that's just dedication. And there's people like that they're getting what hey, I helped. Like I tell Lion. I tell this to him all the time. If you get one person to watch or help one person in VR, that's one person. It's 50% of somebody's better than 50% of nobody. So you actually got somebody's attention. And when you get that pat on the shoulder or that person saying thank you for what you've done, it don't matter what the cost is. It's not the dollar sign. It's the gratitude that somebody you helped, knowing that in real life, couldn't do it. You know, how often you drive down the road going, God, I'm looking for somebody with a flat tire so I can make my day. Think about it. You ain't going to find it. But in here, you always got somebody who might be having trouble, no matter what the deal is. It doesn't matter. They might be having headgear problems. They might be full body tracking situation. There might be a DJ problem. It could be anything, anything. And if you ask and do it politely and have respect for the person on the other end, they're going to help you as far as they can take to your understanding. And it's unreal. It's really unreal. And we get a kick out of seeing that. And I see it all the time. Everybody gives me crap and it comes up and goes, why are you so small? I see the world in a different form when you're way down on the ground. I see the stuff because most people don't pay attention to me. I mean, I get sat on all the time, and it's funny, but but it's the idea that they're not looking down or anything like this, and you're seeing what the people are doing in here from another level, and it's unreal what goes on in VR. And it's not the weird stuff and stuff like this, but it's always the people that help, and I get a kick out of just watching that, people helping somebody they don't even know and trying to make their gear work better, or giving somebody that's new that doesn't know, maybe like a stiffy and everything else like this, that didn't even know what keystroke brings up the round wheel. I didn't even know it was there. They didn't know it was there because most everybody's on gear, has got gear, and they don't see it. Nobody's telling them. Well, you can push this, and that's how you get that. You just made somebody's day. You just realize you just made somebody's day, and I get a kick out of it.
It's so interesting, even with the DJ community too, and it's something we've been kind of talking a lot about recently, is because especially with the holiday season, we're getting some new kids coming in. They're getting their new headsets, they're getting their new computers, they're getting their new consoles and stuff like that. And as we continue to shift from like experienced veterans to or like experienced users to veterans now, and then we got the new kids coming in learning all that sort of stuff, we're always kind of like hyper focused in on we want to give opportunities to everybody, but within those opportunities of people getting their new consoles, their new DJ whatevers, is they think that DJing has a particular norm. That's just like, we're gonna backspin all of the tracks. We're gonna do crossfades, like as if you're gonna listen to music on iTunes or something. How one song ends and then another one kind of fades in, and they believe that is proper DJing. And the thing about that is like you can DJ like that, but when that is your skill, like anybody can do that. It's kind of tough to be like, well, this is how I DJ. and not think about how you could further on your DJing. Now, the other part of that too is people are thirsty, people are hungry, people want to get into the business and be the top billing, and they want to get the most notoriety, you know, the quick limelight kind of scenario. And it's tough for the people that are constantly working hard and they're grinding in VR in the DJ scene when they are getting all the gigs and they're getting all the people to come and watch, the audience and stuff like that. So as far as, you know, we want to give that opportunity to everybody. You know, we want people to experience the limelight. We want people to come on and DJ for a big crowd and get noticed and have this big following and that sort of stuff. But it's also kind of difficult to explain to them that, you know, the way that they've set it up isn't correct. You know, you can do it like that. But also at the same time, you have the same people that'll DJ in front of like people that drink. And when you're drunk and you're listening to music, it doesn't matter how they mix the music. Honestly, when you're there and you're you're intoxicated, it doesn't matter what music comes on at any given time. So that's the saving grace of all of that. But it's also kind of like, it's difficult, and I think every community has that. You know, I feel like every like the RP community, for example, you have a lot of people that come in and they say, "Oh, I can do a good Bugs Bunny, I could do a good Mickey Mouse." If you need a Bugs Bunny or a Mickey Mouse, call me. Kind of a scenario, but at the same time, you know, they do want to further their skills, but it's also, you know, it's tough. Morale wise for them if they don't get it right away, and then you have to kind of like coach them or guide them to better success. Ultimately, yeah, you're doing a fantastic job, and you're helping, you know, your fellow users and the people that are in here, and all you could ever hope for is some great things. But it's also tough for the people that are kind of sitting in the middle, because you have the professional people and they're just like, yeah, what up? I'm famous and popular and whatever. But then like the people in the middle are like, well, I want to be famous and popular and top of the thing. But at the same time, they are farther along than the person who comes in, the weekend warriors that come in to try it. And one of the other things, not to completely hype up about this or harp about it, is we have a cookie cutter system in VRChat where it's like, you can run off of a Quest 2 or Quest 3 because it's cheaper than like the Index. The software companies or the hardware companies will legit give you options that you can DJ on a cheap console, but have all the buttons and have all the cool sound effects that you would with a much larger console. So instead of spending $2,000 on a big console, you can legit get a $400 console that does the trick. And so, you know, again, it kind of questions your theory of like, you know, are you willing to spring the $400 to come on and get your limelight for a few months? Or could it potentially, you know, rock you so hard that you go and do something much larger scale, you know, get a bigger console and stuff like that. So when it comes down to it, yeah, you definitely want to help everybody succeed. But my, if you guys even knew what the timeline looked like today and tomorrow for DJs and birthdays and winter events and raves and all these other huge things that are happening, it might just melt your mind. There's just so much going on, and it is obviously for VRCDJLIVE, we talk a lot about it. You know, we talk about what the DJs believe is happening, and if there's any issues that we can resolve or talk about. And actually one of the topics we talked about with Jigsaw yesterday was finding time slots. You know, you have a lot of hungry people. You have a lot of people that want to show off their skills, and it's even difficult for them because either A, they don't have good networking right now. They don't know too many good people, or B, you know, maybe their skills are a little under par, or maybe they're not they're not as hungry as they want to be. But I mean, obviously you're going to do is, you know, you try to be as hungry or thirsty as you possibly can in this scenario. So finding a nice medium with all of that is great. And all you could ever want in this game is success. It's all you've ever wanted for people, is make sure that they can succeed and do well and promote each other and help each other. And not a matter of gatekeeping, but it's just a matter of like, And not to completely tear this whole thing apart, but like I would assume that you guys have also done a little bit of research on people doing podcasts in here, and there's some things that you may agree or not agree with. But at the same time, you know,
it's out there.
Yeah, you just, and that's actually one of the things I know we were talking a little bit about on my show when I was doing it with you, was just the fact that I was introduced to the fact of podcasting for VRChat, and I'm like, I don't even know how you guys can do it. There's must be tons of people like emailing you and being like, I want to be featured on Metaverse Degen, and I want to be a part of this big old thing. So luckily for me, I have a community, a smaller community that I could deal with, as opposed to the whole entity of VRChat.
Good luck, Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Good luck, Mr. Robot.
Yeah, good luck. Very good luck.
In terms of a previous subject you said earlier, the amount of people hungry to do things here, I'm a person who likes to see doors open for people, but at the end of the day, I'm going to sound like a bit of an a-hole here, but it's one's drive and love for what they do is going to shine more than the person who just wants the fame for 5 minutes. If you're there for the 5 minutes of fame and get a show, there's lots of opportunities, but the one people go to more generally is the one who enjoys what they're doing and has the drive for it, even if there's no slots or shows to do. Because it shows when the person's like, oh, there's no shows, instead I'm going to go in an Orion instance and do it myself, then their friends join, the next thing you know, it becomes a club, then they start having their own time slots for people to take. One way or the other, that drive to keep it going one way or the other kind of shines more than the person who wants that 5 minutes of fame, because eventually one's going to burn out, and the one who enjoys it is going to stick with it a lot longer than the one who wants the fame.
It's quite the interesting thing, especially for those people that are in here for the long haul of it all. You know, for those people that have joined in 2022, they're starting to get a taste of it, where we do have some of these larger clubs that you just can't get into just because the queue line is just, it goes for days. Like the queue line would be so long that by the time you got in, the event would be over. And I'm just like, that blows my mind. But it's also a good invitation for you to, you know, be like, why don't I just create my own thing? You know, and you don't know if that's going to be popular or not, but you're still going to kind of do it. And that was kind of the toughest part too, especially understanding podcasts and stuff. Like at the time when I was asked to start doing this sort of thing, for me, it's a little bit easier because I'm in radio. I have that experience to just kind of come on. Yeah. There's no questions here. You know, we don't have a whole lineup of things to talk about. We just turn the mics on and go. That's kind of what we're doing here today with the Vket. But at the time, you know, it's tough for a seasoned professional like myself to come on and see someone who's running like a basement podcast, if that makes sense. Where everybody's on the couch and everybody's like, oh, you know, we're just kind of hobnobbing, talking about whatever. And it's tough for me because I'm just like, well, I hope that they're going to be talking about something as opposed to like what you guys had for dinner. You know, like I'm sure there's other things you could to be talking about. So at the time of developing this show, it was just like, it was a cause of concern. I was just like, I hope that the people that are doing podcasts know what they're doing, unless they're just kind of like, you know, oh, let's just get a bunch of friends over with wings and beer and have a good time, which, by the way, sounds awesome, but it's not exactly what we're trying to focus in on here, besides beers and wings. So
that'd be a mess.
It would be
about it. Can you imagine trying to have headgear on, eating buffalo wings and drinking beer? You're controlling and wake up in the morning going,
people watch mukbangs. People listen to ASMR streams, so you'll have that demographic too, coming in and be like, hey Rob, what kind of wing are you eating today? Sounds tasty. And I mean, obviously they'll be at home too, like eating with you and being like, I got the wings too. It's totally immersive.
Yeah, I got you there.
To on your point earlier, there is a lot of VRChat podcasts that are just like that. Oh, I had some burgers today for whatever. But one thing I have noticed, the ones that are still being listened to and watched aren't really like that. And they may have started off that way, but they've learned and grew and got better over time. So now it's no longer, hey, let's talk about food or video games or what I did in that club that one time. It kind of grew to something else or different. And those who are willing to adapt and change will stick around or become like the rest of the no longer functioning VRChat podcasts.
I mean, too, like, I don't want to go ahead and pat your back and pat my back at the same time, but like, I feel like we're good examples
I
of what
would,
that.
but my arms are stiff.
You would just be spinning in place
Sorry,
trying
I
to
can't get
pat yourself on the back, and people would be like, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
I can't reach.
You're like that dog chasing his tail.
Yeah, I know, and I can't even. Oh, there it is.
But
There it
like,
is.
you know,
Okay.
I feel
I
like
got
we
you.
have really good examples of like a specific theme of podcasts that you're looking to present. And I think somewhere down the line, someone on the internet is going to be watching what we're doing and just be like, well, I could probably do that. And then I hope they have great success. I hope that they go and do the thing and learn a little bit about it, because I know I keep talking a little bit about how, shoot, it's only been 2 years since I've been back in radio. But when it was time to send in my demo and stuff, I looked at the list and I was like, oh my God, I forgot how much work this is. So I was like screaming at myself for 2 hours trying to put together something important. But having people have the taste of it and try to figure it out for themselves and trying to figure out what they want to do with it is beautiful, because again, I want them to succeed. I want to be so immersed that I'm watching all the time. You know, I'm doing that right now. I'm doing that with the Papa Meat channel. Like, Meat Canyon has my attention. Like, I watch him every video that he posts. While he's drawing live on stream, it's quiet, but at the same time, you know, just watching him is so enthralling. And even with the Metaverse Degen, you know, you guys pump out some good videos, and there's a reason for the video, and the teaser of it is fantastic enough for you to sit and watch the entirety of it to get to know a little bit about a certain somebody and a certain thing.
Well, thank you for the compliment. It means a lot coming from me.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Rob.
Yeah.
You know, and everything.
I enjoy actually seeing the maturing of VRChat content too. Like, for example, the filmmakers, people are making podcasts now. I remember when I first started back in 2020, there was like I want to create funny videos with my friends, and that's great content. But also, so is the mature content, telling a story, doing a podcast, doing a film. I enjoy that content a little more. That's just my taste personally, so please take that for what that is. I enjoy the maturing of the content coming here, such as what you're doing and what Studio Penrose or what Novid Player's doing. I enjoy that content myself, and I watch a lot of it all the time. I've already steamed through Penrose's Metacosmos content. Beginning to end.
Raptor,
Yeah.
what about you? What are some of the things that you're interested in watching as far as the VRChat community is concerned?
Besides just VRChat, I get a kick out of when you're walking through worlds in here and everything else like this. And I've been to, didn't know that they had groups that were actually doing singing, playing bands, stuff like that. Not just strictly your DJs. And those are cool. And I get a kick out of that, you know, everything else like this, because it takes a lot. But when you get somebody and you walk by and everything else like this, and they're singing, you hear them sing, you know, you're just, you know, walking by, and all of a sudden you put on your brakes, go, whoa, where's that coming from? Or somebody playing the guitar or a piano and sitting there just pounding away on the keys for hours, and you just standing back listening to them. You're going, whoa. And you go up to them after they're done, and then you go, do you do this for a living? No, just something for fun.
Right?
I go, you ever thought of, you know, you ever thought of doing this in VR? And they look at you, I can't do it. I go, huh? What do you mean you can't do it? You just did it for 3 hours. I just sat here and watched you pound on keys for 3 hours, playing every song that somebody threw at you. Hey, can you play this song? Yeah, I just sits there and goes to town or on a guitar. But and he goes, well, I don't think I could do it standing in front of a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I go, wait a minute. What do you think's in the world that you're in? It's a crowd. You're playing in front of a crowd. They just don't think of that.
I think
But
everyone's
when
an
you
NPC.
Throw them on you throw them on a stage. You throw them on a stage, and they completely think they can't do it. And don't get me wrong, me being the comedy screwball that I am, it's weird because he sent me to a comedy thing and everything else like this to do a 3-minute stand-up and it's weird. I actually found out what they go through, because I was thrown on the stage, and I mean, I had everything up in my head, how to run it, what I wanted to throw. But when I got up there, it was completely like wiping a slate. And I could understand that, what they were going through. And I understood it. And everything else like this. Would I do it again? Yeah, probably so if I had, but it was weird because I'm a complete different person because I'm the kind of person that I play off of whatever somebody else says. And that's how I ended up doing it anyhow when I was up there. But I could see these people that are singing and understand what they were going through if they stood on a stage and everybody's staring at you down below. It's not just you going up there, you're doing your thing. Even a DJ's the same way. You're just there. If you look beyond what they're talking about, like the interviews that we do, you understand a little bit more what that person's going through when they crawl up onto that stage. They might have the taste and the drive to do it, but it's that scare that somebody's going to come up to them and literally ridicule them for what they're doing because it's not their thing. Problem is, when you stand back and look at somebody that says something like that to you, you got to look at it another way, going, I don't see you up there. And I see you try to do. They'll look at you, go, you're out of your gourd. It's not as easy as it looks. And I get a kick out of those people that have that kind of drive in anything, knowing that you think I can actually sing. Yeah, you got me to stop and listen. Yeah, and I like music of all kinds and everything else like this. But when you start, you literally stop, or you walk in and everybody's around you, and you're just doing your thing, whatever it might be. It could be DJing, it could be singing, it could be playing a guitar, playing it on a piano, and you got their attention. Wow! And a good person for that is in Vket. That was Vket. She's a singer and stuff like this, and she was singing, and I was just, I go, hey, Lion, I'm going to roam around and check out some of the other booths. Yeah, sure, go ahead. I walked by, and I was at a distance. I wasn't even close, and I heard her voice ring. I backed up. We ended up interviewing her, and I backed up and stood back there, and when she was done, I walked up to her, and I go, wow, you got a hellacious voice. My gosh. And she goes, I thank you. And I gave her a little bit, and I go, keep doing what you're doing. She goes, you think I'm that good? And I go, good, girl, you got it. If you can pull an old man like me to stop, back up, and come and listen to what you have, the people that stand back at a distance, it's not the ones that are facing the stage right in your face. It's the ones that are in the background. They're not talking. There's nobody around them, and they're looking at you and listening from a distance, and you caught my attention. Those are the people that make the world turn. And she goes, I appreciate that. And we end up getting her in an interview and stuff like that. That girl can sing. There's people like that all the way around in VR that do things that they want to do, but they're scared. Because you know why? Because, sorry to inform you, anything you do in VR or anything like this, if somebody comes up and tells you the wrong thing that you're scared of, somebody to ridicule for what you are, you're going to shut yourself down. Listen to the people that are giving you the good advice and patting you, but take some of the ones that sometimes saying, hey, your mic's a little too close, or you got an echo and stuff like that. And that's the kind of stuff that you feed off of, not the negative of it, but the positive and everything else that's still there, because they were listening. They're not up there in front of you yelling at that you suck or whatever the deal is. They're actually there, but they heard, and everything else like this. Those are the people that make, and it scares a lot of people. It really does. We get a lot of that from people that you go up to them and ask them, hey, would you like to do an interview? And they go, what? Are you nuts? Why?
Because they haven't had that experience.
They go in a circle.
Yeah.
The most common answer you get in that answer is, I don't think I have enough to talk about. I probably wouldn't be too long. I don't think I'd be good. But then if you see the people.
Yeah, and then they talk to you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
They talk for 3 hours.
Right. Fair, yeah. And it's funny too, because even talking about just that, even in VR, there were like maybe a handful of DJs that have had a hard time being like, well, I have practice, but I haven't practiced in front of anybody. And for a short period of time, it hasn't happened in a while, but there has been a short period of time where there were a small group of people that were trying to normalize DJing, but DJing away from the crowd. So the crowd would be over here, and then they would just be kind of like pointing this direction, not like how Sia does it with her hair and just kind of parts them under her eyes, but something similar where you're kind of focused your attention this way, and you might not hear everybody that's hanging out over here, but at the same time, you know, you're gaining that trust with the audience and the things that you do. Another very funny topic is 2 years ago, I performed my first anime convention out in Alabama, and I was up on stage and I didn't know how to dress. I don't know how DJs dress when they're performing, so I was just wearing khaki shorts and a stupid Magic Carp shirt, but that makes sense too because it's an anime convention. But there were little cues that I had to give the audience to make sure that their experience was a great rave experience. And for someone that didn't know that at the time, I was like, that sounds dumb. You know, when you go to a show and you see the DJ and right before the beat drops, they go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, let's go. You know, like something like that. For the DJ, that's kind of stupid. That's like going up on stage and go, I want to hear everybody scream. Like when you're in the crowd, I don't know, you're in the crowd, you're just like, ah! You know, it's something stupid. But at the same time, you're enjoying yourself. But the crowd themselves are also enjoying that connectivity too. And I think for a lot of people when they come onto stage, whether it's when you're a comedian or maybe a magician or a musician or even a DJ, you don't think about all those quirky like cues that you have to give to the audience to let them do something, because in the moment when you do get up on stage, you see the spotlight and go, "Oh, I don't see anybody." You know, like, "Oh, that's kind of bright. Oh, I don't know what I have to say. I don't know what the magic funny word is to say to make everybody laugh." And obviously you have to practice that, but even as a DJ, like I have to do the countdown because everybody expects that. And for me to do it, I'm just like, I'm like every cookie cutter DJ that does it. Like it's like, like what? So there's parts of that even the DJ community has to go through too, where they're just like, okay, if I'm going to be performing in front of all these people, maybe you do have to talk to a rowdy crowd or someone that will come up and harass you or something. And those TikToks are hilarious, by the way, when you're seeing a comedian on stage and they completely roast someone when they're just so out of line. And at the same time, everybody's paying to see you perform. And they're getting annoyed too, because you're trying to hurry things up and get this guy kicked out. But yeah, there are a ton of people in VR that genuinely haven't experienced that yet, or even find the quips to even alleviate that, you know? And while we're in here and we're trying to make something out of it, it's also tough too because nobody gives you those cues or how to handle that scenario and that situation quite too often. I also would assume too that even during your interviews as well, sometimes they'll get like brain fog and just sit there and just be like, you know, not really know.
Yeah.
You know, you go to McDonald's, can I get and they don't know how to finish.
Yeah. You're looking at the whole menu. You're looking up and down and going, I came in here, I know what I want, but now I saw the menu and now I'm screwed. Yeah, I see that all the time.
There's also a thing too that's like there's also another shade of confidence in VRChat that I find very interesting as well, because you do have some people that have done a lot of experience work where they seem a little bit more confident in what they do, and to be fair too, like let's just say you're doing a podcast and I'm looking at you right now. I have no idea who's behind me. There could be a monster behind me. There could be a bunch of paparazzi behind me ready to take a photo, and as soon as I turn around, I'm like, oh no, paparazzi. But you know, there's a lot of people in here that want to have better confidence, and they come in here to try to feed off of the people that have confidence and get those quips and get those ideas. And that's what I find very charming about VRChat is, you know, this is the place that you can gain experience, despite if it's not the largest experience that you'll ever get in your entire career. You know, you could just be sitting with somebody one day doing a really, you know, underground podcast show in somebody's basement, and you don't know where your life's going to be headed. You don't know how popular that's going to get, and you don't know what community you might even be a part of later on down the road. But that's the first step, you know?
You know, you saying that getting experience in VRChat you wouldn't get normally in your career. Remind me of an interview we did a while back with someone named Silent, works with Muzz in the Sanctum community, or with their VJing. And one of the things that was mentioned was in VRChat she was able to work with in real life would be the most expensive thing you could ever work with. It's like, you know, the big shatter screens with like a fraction of a screen here, fraction there, fraction there. And they were able to get experience using something like that because of VRChat. And because they had to be able to use something like that in a place like here, they were able to do things some people in real life would do the similar thing, may never even have the chance to work with a multi-million-dollar shattered screen, which is, I think it's awesome. And a lot of people here would give you that experience here in VRChat just because they want to see you do something cool.
And especially be able to implement it in a lot of the DJ things too. And a lot of people that we've been talking with VRCDJLIVE has been even recently where they would say that they operate off of like large venue stages and lighting setups, and then for them to come in and be able to use DMX lighting and be able to build in Blender these amazing looking venues and stuff has just been so awe-inspiring. That I'm constantly fed into the thing of where VRChat is headed in the long haul. You know, like we as a community have to continue to fight up against Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse, and that's all the regular people know VRChat is the metaverse, and we all die inside when we have to explain to our family members when they're just like, I was watching the news with Mark Zuckerberg talking about the metaverse, and grandma bought a Quest 2 and she wants to join little Johnny in the metaverse. And you're like, no, grandma, like calm down, go make some biscuits or something. I would love that. But and it's just like it's VRChat is so fascinating, and I guess this is where we kind of circle back around to virtual market, is just because of how massive this thing is. And it's so interesting as a collaborative streamer, not to like go ahead and be like, oh my gosh, I'm a collaborative streamer, but we actually had a meetup with Midnights in Valhalla, who we're actually going to be talking with in a couple hours. And we got to go to their bar and kind of celebrate over the different things that we've done in the past, and kind of get to know each other, not only on the Western side, but in Japan as well. And all of that is so interesting to me, so much so that I'm actually going to be dedicating a good portion of 2025 to learning Japanese this year, because I'm kind of throwing myself into a career where I have to start learning Japanese, you know? I feel like Raptor has something to say.
Somebody else I know.
Yeah.
No, it's somebody else I know. Yeah, he's been working at it.
It's bad enough. Lun came up to me and he was just like, you know how cheap it is to get a round trip airfare to Japan? And I'm like, what are you trying to tell me, dude? And at the same time, I'm like, if you want me to DJ at Vket, like IRL Vket, you got to help me like get money to get out there. I'll do it. I just don't know how to get. But honestly, it is pretty cheap. Like from I live in Tampa, Florida. To go from Tampa, Florida to Japan in February, round trip, $830.
Really?
Really?
That cheap to go?
Yeah, it's cheaper to fly to Japan than to go to Amsterdam. To get to Amsterdam, it cost me $1,200, and I'm like, whoa. So maybe I'm going to Japan. I don't like that. That's kind of where we got someone in our audience agrees. Yeah, Rob, go to Japan.
You should go to Japan. DJ Vket Real.
I want to. You know, again, we had just. I think it was even last year. We had was it a TFX multimedia going over there? JX. I think it was JFX multimedia. They had a whole breakdancing group in VRChat, and they got featured out. They went out to Japan and did a thing at Vket Real, where they just did a showcase of Western culture doing breakdancing stuff. It was awesome.
Oh, I also remember reading that Vket is also doing this weird portal thing where people in VR get to fight or interact with people in real life as well. It's like an airsoft or something like that.
Oh, wow.
If I'm remembering correctly.
They're kind of doing it again this year, where they're doing a parade, and they have a parade route that goes to the convention. But a part of it, they're going to be having the VTuber. They just look like big old panels, video panels, where they look like they're walking, but they're attached to a Roomba or something, like a robot, and then you can interact with them, but it's just like a vertical video of their entire avatar. So there are some people in VRChat that are actually going to be doing that, not walking the entirety of the parade, But they were even saying something like the ambassadors and the staff were saying something like they do it proper style where they have like an army of 8 or 10 and they're holding on to the float like it's an actual like liftable table, and they have people on it, and like they have their video screens on it kind of showcasing the avatars and stuff. And first of all, that's fascinating. I think that's something that everybody should experience in their lives. For me, the only experience I have is when I had to bury my uncle many years ago, and I had to hold a casket. I mean, that's the only experience that I have as far as holding up a big old table. But like, you know,
whoa! You comparing carrying. Oh, never mind.
But at the same, I mean, it's experience. I could be saying I should be going to the gym more, and then I'd be lifting stuff at the gym. But lifting an entire body is just as much weight as well. So,
and a coffin. Don't forget the coffin.
Yeah, the weight of the coffin too is like legit.
Hey, dude, can I just carry your dead body? Carry the dead body out of the coffin, carry it around.
Honestly. But it's again, Vket is again so fascinating, and one of the other things that I keep forgetting to talk about, because at the time when we did do it, it really didn't have as much weight to it. And Lun and the team really loved to just consistently push the idea that I performed at Music Vket 0. Like we had a thing where originally we had an event for musicians and the DJs, like kind of like what we had this year. But it was messy. So we went to a world that was created, but the video player was broken. So we ended up going to Miss Stabby's world, syntax error, and we had a lineup of 6 people, and we just performed there, and it was like maybe 40 of us, 45 of us, and apparently that caught so much attention that apparently my set was featured on Twitch Japan's front page. Wow. It also got the interest of the Teriyaki boys that came in was it Music Vket 3 or something like that, to do an IRL live performance. And I just keep getting these ideas of it. You know, people are like, Rob, it was you're the one who did it. And I'm just like, you know, like I did it. Cool. Like, I'm glad that I'm glad things worked out. But at the same time too, it's kind of like saying I sat at home and I made a picture of the Eiffel Tower just 'cause, and then I handed it to an engineer, and he was like, I'm gonna build that. And then then they build the Eiffel Tower, and then they come up to you and they go, it was you were the one you built the Eiffel Tower. And I'm like, I just drew a thing. Like, what do you mean I'm the guy? But again, just how many hours it takes to go through Vket, all of the people that come in and they build stuff, and they make even avatar stuff and clothing and VTuber stuff, blows my mind. And just recently I had explained how I went on Booth. I went on booth.pm and or FM, I think it was PM. And somebody mentioned this to me, and I encourage you and everyone at home to do the same. Is search for VRChat free models, free prefabs, and you will be there for hours going through each page of all of the cool free stuff that you could download and manipulate to work with your avatar or in worlds here in VRChat. It is fascinating to me because I got to like page 78 and things were still free. And I was like, what? You know, like, it was just, we never had that back in the day. So that's what's so fascinating with Vket and VRChat as well. So I guess I want to ask you guys, has there been anything here that really caught your eye at Vket so far this week?
Well, so far this week, I would say there's 2 things that caught my eye. I'll give one where it's Vket did a thing that was really cool. Cirque des Personnages is one of my favorite worlds. The story told was amazing and fantastic. I ended up going multiple times just to see it. Like, bravo, 110 out of 10. I loved that world. Also, in the world that was like in one of the Gachatopia worlds, there's a booth, and the booth is you will hit the gacha machine repeatedly, and you can win free assets from that person. Ooh. If you get it right. You gotta sit there for a long time, just keep on hitting the booth thing, but it's there. It's pretty cool. There was another booth, actually, I think it's right over down here from you, the one with the portal. They were here at last year's Summer Vket as well, where you hit a crystal, portal opens up, and you go into another booth, like another whole other world. You hit another crystal, it changes completely, and that was dope. And I think it's this one as well, further up that way. There's a person who did a booth where they built like an art piece, a spaceship-looking thing, and they used a shader, and then they just outside the booth, if I'm understanding correctly, is the object, but then it's made invisible, and the shader makes it look like it's in a 2D plane, but it looks fascinating. Yeah.
What about you, Raptor?
Bunch of cool things.
Are you talking? Are you mute?
I think he's muted.
No, I had to mute because I got kids in the background.
Ah.
I don't think you need to hear them yelling at the dog. Get in the house. Yeah, my biggest, the biggest thing is Asterix.
Asterix events.
She's a friend. Events that she does in here. You know, she does where she takes it. And I get a kick out of it because you meet new people. Yeah, like I said, I work with the public and stuff like this in real life, so it's not a problem. But you find and you meet new stuff, and she walks you through it, and then some of this weird stuff that goes on. I like all the booths that are in here because to me, it's out of my league. You know, a line tells me you can do this and everything else. Yeah, like trying to read Japanese instructions, and I've done that. That's really not very easy. And everything else like this, I've got a radio control snowcat out in the garage, and it was all in Japanese. There was no English, nothing to put it together. It's gas powered. And you go in here and you see the artistic work and the stuff that everybody does. It takes a lot, and I get a kick out of it because you look at each booth. I might come back and ran through it too fast. The next time, come back through it again, and I'll stop and look again. Hey, I didn't see that. You might have to go through it a couple times and see what you miss. If you're in too much of a hurry, you're running through it, you're trying to get through all of it because there's so much of it and everything else like this. And all of a sudden you walk back through it with somebody else. But wow, I didn't even notice that. And I've done it quite a bit. Somebody will say, hey, my booth's back here. And I go, yeah, I just walked past that yesterday and didn't even see it. And they'll sit there and talk to you about the booth and stuff like this because they're there, and you meet somebody. Well, with Asterix, we met somebody that had two booths in here. She helped somebody with another one. She had her own, and everything else like this, just like Code that helped us with ours. We wouldn't. We don't have this ability. We had to find somebody to help us make ours and the Code Advance and everything else like this, guys. Everybody's phenomenal at what they do in here with their booths and their creations. You can't really pick one because they're artistic minds. You got to look, because I do draw. You got to look at what they're trying to tell you. It's like a story, but only in this big of a square. What are they trying to tell me? It's like a painting. If you got an artistic mind like I do, and I do, you look at somebody's painting. What are they trying to tell me? And I look at it that way. I might ran through it too fast, and I have to go, but that thing caught my eye. I'm going to go back and look at it again. And everybody's booth's like that in here. And I get a kick out of what I see and what they're showing, where things are going to go in the future. Who knows what that might be. You might get like your avatar, my avatar, and you can buy just strictly clothes, and just anybody can put it on. Don't take rocket scientists to figure it out. And I can't wait till that time is coming. It's getting there because I've never downloaded an avatar. Person who made my avatar and stuff like this, she downloaded it for me and put it on because I do screw up because numbers are not my thing, and I can screw something up by just screwing it up. And when you have people like that and the artistic people in here that do all kinds of things, I get a kick out of it, no matter what it is. The worlds are the same way, but the booths that they have in here, it's like a small world. Remember, I'm small in here. So when you're that small, you see everything again, over again, no matter what, if you're tall or big. But you look at it, God, look how big this thing is. But everybody else is just natural height, and to them, it's okay, it's just common. Yeah, but look at the artistic work. dog down and you stink. God, he's been outside. Jeez. Wow.
Well,
Sorry,
your
bro.
dog's
But
interested in Vket, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, no
we can
problem.
talk about how many awesome things you hear in Vket, but there's no other thing for actually coming to yourself. So you watch this on your phone, your computer, or even in VR in another world. You could actually watch this too. If you're on your computer, you could download it from the Steam store, VRChat, and you can come here today. You go on your phone to the mobile store, download VRChat mobile, and then you're here also. There's so many things for you to see. I honestly very much encourage you to go through all these worlds. I've been
Yeah.
through each of them last week twice, 3 times over.
We have a bunch of
You
people.
definitely should take the time.
We have a bunch of people, not only in the VRCDJLIVE community, but in my regular community as well, that are so fascinated in VCAT. And for us to be in here, we kind of talk about it, but it's not as like glitter and confetti, you know, as for you to experience it for the first time. And it's tough because we expect this. We expect VCAT all the time. We come on in and we I don't want to say we treat it disrespectfully, but it's kind of like we treat it in a sense of like it's something to do and it's fresh and it's new and it's exciting just for that. Just the fact that we come in and for someone that owns a headset, we come in and we're like, oh, wow, we have 3D microphone, 3D desk, 3D something. Somebody had to make this, you know, somebody had to go in and actually build this and kind of look at it through like wireframes and make sure that they have collision and all sorts of magic. This is magic, basically. Everybody's doing magic in here. But for those people that are on the outside coming in and looking in, especially for those people that want to explore more VRChat DJ stuff, you know, having them come in here and experience this, it's kind of a tough sell to those that don't automatically know what virtual market can bring or what it brings. And even again, I look at it as like I talk to my uncle, and my uncle builds houses for real. He's a carpenter, and for me to tell him that like I'm in here talking to people in Japan and being friends and networking in Japan, he's just like, Japan, right, okay, I build houses for people to live in. It's shelter, like it's, you know, it's Japan, get out of here, you know. And I'm just like, okay, like sure. So but until the time that they come in here and they get to explore and we kind of give them a better idea of how things run in here, like you know, hopefully that they do get to open their eyes a little bit more, especially in virtual reality. And again, I hate to go back to the obvious, but like, again, people on YouTube being like, oh, there's so much degeneracy in VRChat and all this other, you have alcoholics and drug dealers and whatever. It's tough to even hurdle over that, just to tell them about all the other awesome things that we've got in here to kind of showcase. Even I find it the most impressive is that I went doing some VCAT stuff yesterday, and it was in one of the Las Vegas worlds where you can genuinely box with someone. And if your dream ever to play Mike Tyson's Knockout, or I think that's what it is, where you got your gloves up and you actually have to punch and stuff, but at the same time you get to feel that and you get to hear the sound effect of like the padding of the glove up against somebody or up against a bag or something. Like, I was tired afterwards. My guts hurt afterwards. I felt like encouraged to go to a boxing class for real, because I love to exercise occasionally. But just having that experience of being able to do that is so crazy. It's so carnival. You know, it seems like to the average person, they'll go to the carnival and say, ooh, virtual reality, put on the special headset, and then like it'll be like you're in a cybernetic world and you have to shoot the aliens or the zombies or something. But you do that at the carnival. You don't do that at home. So for us to like explain, you can do that at home. You can shoot zombies and aliens at home. You know, you can box at home.
Wait a minute. When he says that, no offense, Rob, but when you say that, it just sounds like you want to tell somebody, yeah, take out your pump shotgun, the real one, put it on your VR headset, see how many holes you can put in your house.
Dude, not gonna lie though. Dude, not gonna lie. It's been bad enough that like news reports of people in New Jersey have been seeing a ton of drones fly by their house for no apparent reason, and like the news had been stating that like there have been at least like 25 to 30 instances of drones flying through New Jersey, just New Jersey alone. Like, you think that people in New Jersey are gonna come out with their shotguns to start shooting? You're like what is these drones flying by?
Hobo and Blair, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hey, yeah.
I mean, obviously you could do that here, but
Hey,
what's
it's duck season for drones. Why not? I wonder if I can mount this on my
maybe
wall.
one of them's got a CPU chip
boy.
that I could put into my computer instead of buying one. Like, I've got to have one.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's the difference between that and actually physically punching your wall with VR? You know, people be doing that too.
Yeah, wow. We won't
Funny
mention
story.
that.
I've actually done that.
Oh, God.
I was playing
Oh,
The
God.
Forest in VR, and I wasn't really aware of my surroundings at the time, but right next to me at the time was my nightstand thing. So it's about as tall as my hand was. And one of the cannibals ran up to me and not even thinking, grabbed my spear, and I thrusted my controller with full force directly into my nightstand, turning it to powder.
Oh man.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. All he sees is hand drop down to the side and goes, I think I broke my controller.
Oh no. See, those are the stories I
Nothing
long to
sounds
hear
good.
for, because the only thing I've ever done was the first time I had full body, I was trying to do a little dance in my room. And I didn't have a lot of room to begin with, but I remember kicking a trash can, and I was like, oh, that's what they were talking about. They got to be more careful about that.
Nothing sounds worse than a $300 crunch.
Man, technology is terrible. Oh my gosh, I spent all this money on it, but yeah,
I love it.
We're here live with VRCDJLIVE, and we're here on remote. Here with Lion Turtle and Raptor of Metaverse Degen, and I know we're gonna kind of end our little conversation a little earlier than normal.
Thank you very much.
But man, it's been a real hoot to have you guys on here, just to not only talk about what you guys do, but at the same time talk about Vket. You know, like, we're only here in Vket for a couple of weeks, and then I don't know about you, but I'm gonna be complaining when it's gone, because I'm gonna be like, oh man, I miss coming out here and exploring all these things. So it's definitely a pleasure to have you guys. Of course, we're gonna be going live again next Friday, so you guys are more than welcome to stop in and kind of chit chat some more, because there's always something to talk about. There's always all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can continue to talk about Raptor songs.
You, the audience member, quickly download the VRChat application and get here yourself. Do it now. There's only 1 week left. If you buy now, okay, done.
You get it on PC mode.
Buy now? What are you selling? What
It's
the hell?
free.
Buy now?
Yeah, it's free.
I know.
Purchase
Then why
now for free.
Never mind. Yeah, purchase it for free. Oh, I know.
For 4
they're
easy
buying the
payments of
word
$0,
free.
you too could be here in Vket.
Yeah. But you're going to want to experience it, because like that's the other thing too, is you can actually experience the worlds outside of the proper Vket time. They're still going to be kind of lingering, but at the same time you're like, everybody's kind of done with that. We're going to focus in on New Year's stuff. But
Thank you for having us.
before
Rob.
you guys get out of here, you want to tell everybody at home where to find you?
Metaverse Degen on YouTube, Spotify, and YouTube Music, all 3 places. We upload 3 times a week: Monday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday at noon EST or 9 a.m. PST.
Do you want to
Every week like
tease?
clockwork.
You want to tease your up and coming video if you have one coming out soon?
Let me open the files.
That's a good idea.
No, he's
I
got
can
to
tell you
he's
that
gotta
now.
dig and
They're
lift.
not even uploaded.
And
Funny enough,
And if-
I have
if it-
a ginormous files of everything, and I don't.
well, he's looking and everything else we do. Anybody that wants to be interviewed or anything like this, Lion and I have on Discord an open server set up there, and a place to put in your name so we can get to you and stuff like this. Because just going up and go, hey, you want to be interviewed, and trying to remember everybody, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
You know what? I have a future episode of tease. Right now we're in the middle of our break time, but as soon as we get out of that, we actually talked with a group who is a role play group here that just started VRChat, but started in Second Life, and they're a Star Trek role play, and they've been around Second Life for 18 years.
That's wild.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they just branched over here to VRChat, and it was an amazing time. So look out for that show at some point. There's many others from musicians. We have a few other role play groups, DJs, world builders. A lot to look forward to.
Sweet. Yeah,
Thank
and
you
I
guys
think again,
thank you
like,
for having us.
oh, absolutely, and again too, like this is also a very important step forward as far as shining positivity and a light on in our community, in our VR chat community, and just getting to know the people that may not always get the light to shine on them. So that is definitely a pleasure to continue to see you doing the work, doing the work, and getting some really good examples. So I want to thank you guys for showing up as well.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, we appreciate you having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
and for everybody
thank
at
you again,
home,
Rob.
and everybody at home, what we're doing right now, we're going to take a quick intermission. Stick around, and because in about 20 minutes from now, we're going to be having our friends from Midnights in Valhalla to come and join us here, and we're doing it live. It's VRCDJ Live, here live at Vket.
Oh.